everybody, welcome back to therealtorshow.com. Again, it's therealtorshow.com. The purpose of this video and this podcast is to provide value for all you real estate agents out there. So we talk about real things going on in the industry, things that can really help you guys build your businesses. You usually see me interviewing Dan Peart. He's the team lead here at Keller Williams. And today we're joined by Christina, and we're going to talk about how to build your business, how your office is helping you build your business, if at all, or how they are not. And we'll just see where the conversation leads us, right? So Christina, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Honored to be here. I'm Christina Benega. I've been in real estate tipping over 20 years. Done many hats, wore just about every hat humanly possible in real estate, from lending, running an office. I also do a lot of coaching. I coach top real estate agents across the nation. And then we also have a small real estate team in Murrieta, which is where we have our home base with our family.
Okay. Now, how did you get started in real estate?
It's interesting. I was helping my mom look for property. She had decided that she wanted to buy a house, and she got hooked up with a realtor, and I was accompanying them to look at houses. And the realtor was standing in the house, and I said, well, and I just asked questions like, what's the HOA fee? And she said, I don't know if they have an HOA. And I said, well, all the grass is cut the same, so probably they do. And she's like, I don't know. And then I said, hey mom, look at this. You know, did you notice this extra storage up here? That's huge, because you know you need storage. And she's like, wow, I didn't even know that was there either, the realtor said. And I just, after the day, I looked at my mom and I said, if that's what realtors do, I think I can do that really well.
Right. So they're doing a bad job.
I was like, that's bad. You know what I mean? Here's my mom, like first-time home buyer, looking for advice and guidance. And between that and a couple houses with really bad cockroach problems she showed us, was like, whoa, you didn't do any research. And I thought to myself, you know, the consumers deserve a better experience, and that was my passion for getting in.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the topics Dan and I talked about last week.
Yeah.
How to really separate yourself as a realtor apart from the crowd, especially now that the market's starting to make a comeback, right? You're going to have a lot more real estate agents coming in the industry.
Yes.
So how do you separate yourself from the pack? And the clear answer last week was create more value than anyone else. But there's so many ways to do that. There's an infinite amount of ways to do that. So what's one of the ways you did it in building your business?
You know, again, I believe that communication is very important to consumers. I think the industry isn't always good about teaching realtors how to be really excellent communicators. And what that does is give a poor experience to the client. So communication first and foremost for me is important. So, you know, I believe in seller updates, you know, at least once a week, sometimes twice. I believe that they should know what's happening during their listing period, that they should never be calling you. The same with the buyer. They shouldn't be looking for you. They should be so ahead of the curve. And now with technology, I mean, my God, I was in the business when we had triple copies. And we didn't even have fax machines.
And now we're always on.
And now it's like a tweet, you know what I mean? Or I'm not a tweet, but a text that you can do and just say, hey, by the way,
or
everything, or a tweet if they're on Twitter. But, you know, if the consumer gets a text at work and says, hey, by the way, we passed inspections, appraisal came in fine, call me when you're after work if you need anything. And that's a 2-second communication, and they're feeling like, wow, that's awesome. You know, so we've been supported by these technologies, and we have to be mindful to use them more. And I think realtors have to be in a great environment. You know, I think that it's another thing. Like, there's lots and lots of offices out there that don't cultivate great experiences just to their clients. So then, meaning their agents, the office doesn't to the agent. And then how does the agent know to give that to their client if they're not even receiving it? Right.
And then the other dilemma for the agents is, how do you scale this? How do you scale giving all this value? Because sure, I can do this for my first 10 clients, but let's say I have 20 clients. Now, how do I give them all that same value? And I think that's where the office comes in. And that's one of the things that Keller Williams Irvine does with Dan. So tell us about what this market center in particular does to help other agents build their businesses.
It's important to know where they're currently at, and what we do is we extensively I want to get to know them, instead of a one-size-fits-all training platform that that may or may not be the right fit for where they are in their business. So getting to know them, getting to know what challenges they're experiencing, and then directly applying the tools that Keller Williams has, and the resources and the coaching and the development and accountability to the format of them building the business that they want to. So I don't know, we talked about this last week, cash flow quadrant, moving people from being self-employed to business owners and really understanding what
Robert
that means.
Kiyosaki cash flow quadrant.
Right.
Yeah, you have the employee, E, S, small business,
Right. Investor.
B, and then I.
Right.
So for the realtors, especially the mega agents, they all operate in the B quadrant.
Right.
It's an actual business.
Right.
Exactly.
Right now, as a realtor, I'm in the S quadrant. So I'm trying to scale my clients, my time, and I'd like to make the move to the B quadrant. And it's very interesting how you have custom-made plans for different realtors, because there's some part-time realtors, there's some realtors like myself who are pretty good at getting leads,
Right.
but not necessarily good at servicing the clients once I get it.
Yes.
So how would you help, let's say, a brand new part-time realtor get started in building their business?
Well, first of all, before we'll even hire them, we need to know they have a track record of success. And then the mindset has to be not that they are a part-time agent, but that they would carry 2 full-time jobs, the job that they do to sustain themselves financially, and then the other job being that they are going to be a real estate agent. And so we teach them that they have to make these adaptations in their schedule. This isn't it's not something that if you really want to grow, it can continue to be part-time. And then lastly, they have to understand that it's not an ongoing process. They're going to get to, they have to have the goal that at some point they're going to leave that other profession, or else real estate always gets put on the back burner because it's uncomfortable, it's different. And so if their goal is not to eventually come into this full time, then that's what we look at too. And then if they match those 3 things, we take them through a 100 days process. We help them with their schedule. I mean, I know part-time agents that are way better at managing their schedule than full-time agents.
Right.
Because they have to. So
They have a smaller period of time that they need to get things done.
Right.
And you even do things like have night classes. This office offers night classes, and so if someone can't come to the 9 a.m. Ignite course, then they can come to the 7 o'clock Ignite course. And you have great agents and leaders who work around that schedule to support that growth. Most of stuff in real estate is during the day because it's geared for mega producers and people who are full-time growing.
Right.
And that's a vast majority of the classes that happen here and the meetings. But for those people who are invested, it's not something easy to get into, but with the right company, with the right office that really understands how to help you do it, it's amazing, and it can happen fast.
Yeah, I definitely took advantage of those night classes here because I had another career, actually several careers. So the only time I could come in was at nighttime.
Yeah.
And I was happy that I was able to have that opportunity. Now, when building a business, you hear from other industries, sometimes it's better to focus on your existing customers rather than trying to get new customers. Is that true in real estate?
I would say no, because the best thing you can work on when you're coming into real estate is your sphere, right? The people that know you and trust you. Sometimes though, a newer realtor who doesn't have all the answers doesn't feel comfortable going to that source, even though it is the best source to go to. Maybe in their family and their friends, they were never positioned as a go-to person, so that might not work. And even if you do have a great sphere, like that's a one source, and you can't build any business on one source.
Sustainable for a long period of time.
It
Right?
will diminish, it will go up. You might say, oh my God, my first year I did 12 deals just from my sphere. But if you didn't have another source that you were building at the same time, that one pillar could become weak next year, and now you're left with that. So the great thing is like there's tons of ways to generate leads. You can get a little lost in how to generate leads.
Offline, online, each of those have like thousands of different ways.
Yeah, do you have money to write checks to people to help you and things to buy leads? Do you not have checks and you gotta have sweat equity?
Yeah,
where
we're
it's
just
like,
talking about Facebook posts versus Facebook ads versus just manually you marketing the
So
content.
the good thing is, like, when you look at the beginning of your business, the most important thing is to go back and say, hey, how am I going to generate business naturally?
Right.
What is my natural abilities? What am I really good at? Like, someone who's not comfortable in front of a camera, we would not want them to start with social media, right? That's just not their comfort zone. But guess what? They may love the PTA at school. You know what I mean? And they may be the best mom on the soccer field.
Yeah.
And so then you go, okay, that's a network. Now let's teach you how to build a network that actually sees you as the go-to, the expert.
That's
the
your
person
angle.
That gets it.
That's your angle for getting to your target audience.
Exactly.
Now, when recruiting people on your team, okay? So we have people who have different strengths and weaknesses, right? Like, I'm pretty good at getting leads. I'm not so good at following up on the contract when we're in escrow, or following up with the other realtor on making sure contingencies are removed. So what would be your recommendation for me? Should I partner with someone who is good where I'm weak, or should I just improve my weaknesses?
Well, you have to look at the desire you have to grow, right? So knowing what you do now, knowing the challenges you have, I would say the best thing for you to do is partner with someone who does it excellently.
Right.
Not someone who does it okay, because then two people who are the same, we don't need one of you.
Right.
Right? So it's really looking at it and saying, hey, your clients love you, and I want to share that experience with my clients as I build that base, so let's team up. But again, it's a common problem because agents, listen, it's a big process. You've got to first you got to do the work to build generation sources.
Right.
Then you got to generate the lead. Then you got to learn how to convert the lead. Then you got to learn the contracts really well. And then you have to go through an escrow period and handhold your client and make sure that it's excellent. Then you got to close the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that is that's no mighty or small feat for
So
someone.
I'm good at the first three, and then I definitely
And
need
you
to partner
find a
with
great
someone.
partner who's on the back. Or if you were in a place where your business was booming, you would just begin to hire people, right? You'd say, I'm going to hire a fabulous client care specialist who's just going to really rock my transactions and rock my clients. I mean, that's how some of the really big teams start, is you got a great salesperson who just builds, and then all of a sudden they're like, dude, I can't do this all. And they find through struggles, usually their first assistant, and you go through some if you don't hire right to begin with, which again, you come to an office like this, they teach you how to hire, they show you job descriptions, they give you ideas of how you should do this. And then you hire someone amazing, and now you're talking, doubling, quadrupling your business in 6, 12, 18 months time.
Right.
I mean, that's leverage. But,
and then if you're, let's say you're the opposite now, you're good at servicing the client once you have them, but you're not good at getting leads, what would you do? It'd be a little harder at that point, right?
You always want to recruit to your weaknesses, and if you're already there and you know what you're strong at, it involves them being clear and understanding. It's not from an ego perspective. It's, look, I'm really not a good marketer. I know that about myself. I know that I'm really bad at details, really bad. And so what I need to surround myself is talent that's not just good at the details, but talent that's excellent at the details.
So you can scale that.
Right, you can scale it, and the only way you do that is through a method like Recruit Select, like she was talking about, where it's a process of really digging deep with another individual so that you're not spending the money on hire and fire. It's so expensive to train and have people leave or have people experience job dissatisfaction.
Yeah, let's actually talk about that as we're getting close to wrapping up. The mega agents, or not even necessarily the mega agents, just someone who has built a team. What's the turnover like? I would imagine it's high, right?
Well, unfortunately, most of them aren't going to like this, but it has all to do with them, right? I mean, I have seen people who have had business backgrounds come into this industry and not use those tools here and just create a wreck. Right. And then you've seen people who really took their ownership of, hey, I'm building a business, so they did things like got incorporated, put people on payroll, had proper job descriptions, laid down expectations, had accountability meetings. you start off in a relationship with a buyer's agent or a showing agent or an assistant under those guidelines, then what you're proving is that you're invested in the right build. You may still make a mistake. You may still hire someone that you wish you didn't. And then you gotta let them go. But usually the better your start, the better the hires.
And when you say hire someone, do you hire them like as an actual employee, like a W-2? Are there some agents who do that?
Depends on the role.
Yeah, it depends on the role, it depends on your office, you know, and where you're at. Like, you know, obviously, independent contractors have HR rules, 1099 employees have rules, there's rules on commissions being paid by brokers versus non-brokers. There's tons of rules, but that's where you gotta lean on your office. Because it's an unknown, and especially if you've not come from an organization where you were doing that. How do you know what to do? How do you know whether what you're asking your assistant is under the federal guidelines of needing to be on payroll versus hiring an assistant who's just paid 1099? You know,
Right.
What is the difference? There's serious differences in how you ask. And, you know, first and foremost, anytime someone talks about building, it's like, are you incorporated? You know, are you protected? Do you have all of your things in a row so you can build? Too many times it's like, hey, my friend wants a job and I'm going to hire her to come in, and then, you know, and then next thing you know, it's like a debacle.
Can't build a skyscraper on mud.
Yeah, no, it falls every time. And so, and that's the thing, you look at time and you forget the money aspect even for a second, the intangible costs of hiring the wrong person, reputation, there are costs involved, how about lost business, different things along those lines. I mean, the intangibles alone could be millions of dollars in revenue to a real estate professional. And I think I'm shocked, especially in our industry, how much they don't take that seriously. You know, the hiring aspect of someone that's going to be in a pivotal role in your business. And it doesn't have to, you know what, we're willing to pay top talent, top dollar, right? It's not, if that person's helping you double, triple, quadruple your income that year, letting you be the surgeon, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, and that's a big one. Like if you hire, I don't care if it's a buyer's agent, showing agent, an assistant, a marketing person, I don't care who you hire. If your business doesn't grow because of that hire, something went wrong.
Do you know the percentage, and you don't have to give me the actual number, but the percentage of agents, just approximately, who want to build a team versus those who are just satisfied with being a solopreneur their whole career?
Well, I think nowadays, and you can tag in here, everybody understands that teams are going to be part of the future. You know, consumers, I think, even look at a single agent now and go, you know, there's this big team in our area that has 5 people on it, and it's not huge, but I see them everywhere, and then there's just you.
Yeah.
You know, and so it looks like, what are you doing for that? So what are you doing being solo?
Right.
But then, you know, there's solo agents who maybe you're not in a position to build, so man, rock your company. You lean on your company, take a picture with your manager and your escrow officer and, you know what I mean, your front desk person, and
That's
say,
your
this
team,
is my
right?
team. You know, these
Right.
are the people who help me grow, and present yourself with people with resources, because that's what the consumer wants.
Right.
They don't want to just, you're a standalone person all by yourself. That's a risk, right?
Right. So I'm in the process of building my team, okay? Because I can get leads, I just need help
Yeah.
servicing the leads once I get them. Now, what I'm currently overdoing, at least I think what I'm doing is overpaying my partner because I want to build a long-term relationship with him. Do you think this is smart, or am I giving up too much money?
I think you've got to hold every dollar accountable to a result. It's just, money doesn't grow on trees, and that's why when you're sold things from different places and agents make emotional decisions, because money is emotional, on what they spend their money on, I think it's smart to look at it from a perspective of ROI. You know, what's the return on investment? Am I getting, you know, like my minimum standard is $5 for every $1 I spend in that area. Am I getting that return on investment? And if I'm not, then the conversation has to be had, or the talent has to be found that will give me that rate of return.
Yeah, and I would say that in a partnership, again, what's the objective of the partnership? What's the time frame? What's the expectation of both partners?
Mhm.
How is the revenue and expenses cut up?
Yeah.
You know, what's the formal agreement? Again, I don't know personally.
Right
on
now,
you.
everything's just a handshake.
Yeah, and like,
Yeah.
don't do that,
Don't do
okay?
that. Don't do that.
So
Don't
have
do
it all
that.
written down.
Listen, in any real company, you can't go into a partnership without a written agreement. And in any Fortune 500 company, agreements happen before anything is finalized. And again, this is what I'm saying, we get away with not doing it right, and then if it goes wrong, we go, well, why'd that happen?
Right.
Well, the expectations weren't clear, I didn't know what you were doing, you didn't know what I was doing, we didn't have a budget that we were working off of that said, hey, you know, 5% of yours and 5% of mine's gonna go in here so we can continue to build and have, you know, build a reserve that we could pay our assistant when we're ready,
Right.
or we could pay for more advertising. Like, if it's just the split, then it's really just, like you said, it's a handshake between friends going, let's help each other out. That's
Yeah.
not really a partnership.
I think what stops people and what prevents a lot of people, and myself included, number one, you kind of react as things are happening.
Sure.
So it's like, oh my God, I'm getting all these leads. I don't know what to do with them. I need help.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of have a verbal agreement and a handshake, and then what we've said to each other is, as this gets stabilized, we'll have something set up, more formal. Now, how often can agreements change? Like, a lot of people are scared that if they put something in writing, that they're obligated to follow that. And I know in this industry, you can change your mind anytime, right? Just,
Well, I mean, if you think about it, we work off of contracts in this industry, that's how we get paid.
right.
And you can't change
Ah.
anything, you know what I mean? The contracts are when there's mutual agreed upon signatures, it has to be mutually agreed upon to change the contract. That's
So you
what
have-
keeps us together with the sellers and buyers,
I
right?
see.
Same concept in your business. Like,
Same concept with agents,
Yeah.
amongst agents.
yeah, and if you're new, like you are with your partner, then build in a 90-day review. Build in, hey, every 90 days, we both review it, and either one of us has the option to terminate the partnership, you know what I
Right.
mean, if you feel it's not going, so that you build it in there. Like, listen, I don't want to mess up a friendship over
Right.
a business relationship, you know, and again, it's taking the mindset of you're building a sales organization under a great office.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just finding people to buy and sell homes.
Right.
Yeah, so build, right?
And major disputes, a lot of the most major disputes come from partnership.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, to me, partnership, with the exception of ours, you know.
It's in writing.
It's in writing, yeah, it's in writing. But partnership is probably the worst way to run a real estate practice. And it's because very few of them actually work out. And a lot of times, someone is maybe an over-glorified transaction person, right? And they're not bringing any business. Your highest cost of sale should be someone that brings business in, right? And so maybe having an administrative assistant that's making $3,000 a month is going to be a better move from you than splitting your commissions 50-50 with another agent that basically is
60-40.
doing what an assistant, or 60-40
Them.
even. Yeah, 40
Yeah.
them.
But again, you know what's cool is like, I love, Dan, the authenticity of like, look, I'm struggling too, because there's so many realtors out there who come in and they just, they go to an office and they make a decision to choose an office usually over not great things. They know somebody who works there, the fees are cheap, or you know what I mean, something like
That's a big
that.
one, yeah.
Yeah, versus saying, is this a place that's gonna help me grow my sales organization? Like, are you gonna help me figure out how to get leads? Are you gonna help me learn to convert? Are you gonna help me build my sales division when it's ready to kind of grow? Like, it's like, why wouldn't you want to do it the right way to get from the start?
They're not thinking offense, they're thinking defense. Like,
Yeah, and they say, the smartest people always learn from the mistakes of others. So,
Yeah.
whenever someone's trying to make a decision, go ask a bunch of people, especially people you respect, like, team leaders and what have you. Don't have just you in a conversation with someone who doesn't even know as much as you, right?
Yeah. Wow, I learned a lot. So partnerships, the worst.
It's not my favorite form of going into business. In fact, anybody in our office that goes into partnership, I need their partnership agreement
Yeah.
before they're allowed to do it.
Ah.
Because more often than none, you have the conversation of, well, he said he was going to pay me this. Well, no, that I didn't say that. You said this, and guess what? You go to court on that. The judge is going to say, do you have an agreement? No, he's going to throw it out.
But shouldn't it be every escrow, like looking at the escrow, like if you're co-listing or if you're co-agents, the agent commission will be spelled out in the escrow instructions, right?
Typically, yeah, but that's after all the work's been
Yeah,
kind
and
of
what if
done.
you came to a dispute right there? Like,
Right.
what if it was
What would
like,
happen?
well, I did more of the work than you, and so
Yeah.
I should get more, and like,
Yeah.
now you're in escrow, you have someone who had faith in you,
Yeah, poor escrow.
and you know what I mean, and you guys are fighting over it. It's something that doesn't need to happen, so
see.
I would suggest you don't. Wait that
Uh-huh.
long.
Get it in writing and be clear. You know, if you think something's redundant, I mean, look at the real estate contracts. A lot of redundancy in there,
Yeah.
and that's to cause clarity. You know, in any dispute, and so extreme clarity is necessary.
So then the mega agents, the successful ones, their structures are not partnerships. It's I'm the leader and then I have a team underneath me.
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, there's the rare partnerships that work, you know, and they usually have great agreements, and they've been together a while, and they each have a strength of someone else. Husband-wife teams, I mean, I know husband-wife teams who, you know,
Yeah,
rock
they do.
some of the highest levels of production out there.
They already got a contract, so
Yeah.
It's kind
But,
of
you know, when you're non-husband-wife and you're trying to partner, you gotta be clear. But, yeah, when you get to some of these mega teams, there's usually what you would call the team leader of the team, the owner of the team, the rainmaker of the team, the head person, and then they have built the foundation of what's needed to scale what they're already good at.
And that's what we can talk about next week,
Yeah.
yeah.
right? Thank you guys. Any closing remarks?
I would just say, you know what? There's not many companies that I've never heard of a company that had two CEOs of that one company. And so in the realms of answering more about your partnership and stuff, you know, it's really not, you know, you got two CEOs, you know, who's in charge, right? Who's in charge of it?
The one who gets the lead.
The one who gets the leads, right? Always going to pay more for the guy, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
But I would just say, you know, all of you out there, when you have questions, you have concerns, like, reach out. I mean, Dan's put this great channel together with Dan running the Keller Williams Irvine office, being able to answer questions. That's what our industry is coming to, being more open about how to help you guys be mega successful, like
Transparency.
huge, by being transparent with the answers. But you got to ask the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And a huge honor to have such a great real estate coach today.
Yeah, thank
come
you.
in and speak about, you know, models of productivity.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about your coaching.
Yeah.
That'll be next
There's
time.
so much to talk about.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Thank
much.
you guys.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all for watching therealtorshow.com. Take care.